Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Yes Life podcast. My name is Lisa Limita. I will be your host today. Thank you so much for being here. We are here each week with channeled thoughts, discussions, and interviews on what it takes to go from dreaming and wishing to actively living your yes life. I am the co-founder of Rise Leadership Circle, along with my business partner and my daughter, Kayla, who you know and love if you've been listening into our podcast. So today, you guys, I have a special guest on the show. Her name is Lidia Evangelista. I'm really excited for you to dive into this episode. If I could sum up Lydia's life story in one word, it would be resilience. So Lydia shares her journey of finding out shortly after she becomes pregnant that her soon-to-be husband is ill. You'll hear the whole story. I'm not going to share too much now. And the journey of what she went through as a widow, a single mom, and to now actively living her yes life. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're definitely going to want to dive in, listen to every word. Lydia is so wise. And she also happens to be one of the coaches inside of our program, the Circle at Rise Leadership Circle. So I want to just give you her formal bio so you can get to know who she is before you take a dive in. You're definitely not going to want to miss this. So Lydia is a very young 40-year-old widow who is a single mom to a 13-year-old daughter. She graduated from the University of Illinois with a BA in applied psychology. For over 10 years, she worked at a youth residential home for at-risk adolescent boys who were between the ages of 12 and 17. But in 2019, Lydia decided to become a certified life coach, and she graduated from accomplishment coaching. She's in the same program that Kayla went through. Since then, she's built her own full-time spiritual life coaching practice called Living Soulful, where she supports her clients to create a fulfilled life in order to become a happier and healthier version of themselves, while also balancing and nurturing their mind, body, and soul. Lydia has also incorporated Reiki into her coaching practice. So she truly, we get into this in the podcast about how she truly weaves in this idea of mind, body, and spiritual coaching to live a fulfilled life. She's worked with women, especially mothers, to help rediscover their joy and what it feels like to have a fulfilling life in and of themselves, right? To come home to who they are in addition to being a mother or the other roles that we play. She's also been a circle coach, as I mentioned, for over 2 years now at Rise Leadership Circle. And she brings all of her wisdom and expertise to our program as well. So you'll hear it all. Go ahead and dive in. I hope you enjoy. And as always, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if this episode resonates for you. We love it when you send us messages and let us know what really stood out. Hi, Lydia. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you today and to share your story. How are you today?
I'm good, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I would love to just jump right in with the good stuff. And I want people to get a sense of who you are and how you got here. So I would love to kick us off just kind of talking about how you got where you are today. Will you tell us a little bit about you and your journey to to this moment is like the best way I can say it.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to share that with you. Well, first of all, I didn't start off as a life coach. I was actually working at a residential home for at-risk youth. And I did that for about 10 years. And I loved it. I loved working with kids. And I think in that, a lot of the kids had a lot of mental health and emotional trauma and abuse. So, I feel like I became a mom before I actually became a mom. In the program with them, I felt like I was like a mom to them and just kind of helping them throughout the day-to-day stuff because they did live at the facility that I worked at. So I did that for about 10 years. And then in that time, I had met Danny's dad and, we started dating and we ended up, you know, it became really serious and we got engaged. And then when we came back from a trip in Mexico, he actually proposed out there to me. And when we came back, we found out I was expecting as well. So it was kind of like a lot was going on at that time. I was just engaged, now I'm expecting. And so life was kind of moving a bit fast for us. So we have Danny, my daughter, in January of 2011. And in that time, then, I'm on maternity leave, he's on paternity leave, and he goes back to work. And, he started having some sort of chest, I guess he couldn't really breathe, and he was like, having a hard time breathing. And so I suggested, go to the doctor and see what's going on. February of 2011, we find out he has this mass in his chest. So now I'm on maternity leave, and now we're about to go through this process of him going through chemo and just like getting some treatment for now cancer. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was stage 4. So, this is all new to us, and now we're new parents. And so, I would say like my survival mechanism just was like, now, like, I have to take care of my family. And so, we're going through, the cancer journey with him. And eventually I do go back to work. And as he's kind of in and out of his job, because he was a nurse at the VA hospital, we just kind of went through this scary part in our lives, but we stayed together and try to work through it. And we eventually did get married in September of 2011. And so, we had this really big grand wedding. And I think that like, it was like we had everybody there, to kind of celebrate that moment with us. And so again, we're still going through treatments and everything. We go into the new year of 2012, and he's again sensing, more like tumors. He started feeling bumps in his throat. And so again, we're back in the doctor's office, and they're saying now that it's somewhat spread. So again, we're just going through life with treatment. Again, I'm trying to raise, at the time now our daughter is 1. And so we get up until about August of 2012, where he gets hospitalized for like another big treatment. But unfortunately, he didn't have enough strength to go through with it. And so the doctors told us that, there was nothing more they could do. If they continued to put more treatment into him, it would have just killed him regardless. So he ended up passing away in August of 2012, the end of August. And that's where everything changed for me, where I was in this like, now what? Now what do I do? Again, still in that survival mode of, now I got to be a mom and I have to take care of my daughter. And so, I eventually go back to work after kind of taking a couple of months off of just kind of grieving and kind of grasping all of that. But of course, you never really can grasp that within those months. So I go back, and again, I'm looking for some kind of flexibility in my life. And I get this like random message from a woman or a coach that was at Accomplishment Coaching, saying how she saw my profile, and she wanted me to, if I wanted to come and see an observation. And at the time, I was thinking, I need more flexibility in my life. I also had just decided to purchase a house. Like, so this is like 4 years after JR passed away. I'm looking for, to start to create a life for me and my daughter. Because at the time I was living with my parents. So, I go on to go to this coaching program, this observation, and I just knew that this was like the next step for me. And I took on that opportunity to enroll in the program. I left my job after 10 years because I just was like, I can't do both. I just need some time to focus on this. And I had the resources and everything. I could do that. And I did the program for 1 year and, got certified as a life coach. And then from there, I just continued to get coached and kind of helped me create my own coaching practice. In the time that I was in the coaching program, I also got certified in Reiki. And so, uh, that energy healing and it also supported me as I was going through my grief journey because I was looking for ways to like support me and help me with my emotions and what I was feeling internally. And I really felt like the combination of coaching and Reiki really helped shift my energy uh, a bit. Whereas then I decided, you know what, I'm going to combine these now in my practice where I use life coaching, Reiki, or both to give that to my clients. Because if it supported me, it can support them as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, and so like here I am today. Obviously, Danny now is 13. I have, like I said, my own coaching practice, and then I've been coaching with you all for like the last year with the circle, and I love every minute of it. So, I feel like after going through such a major loss, like again, I had to rebuild and come back to this place where I can live again, and try again. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's such an incredible journey. I was just imagining you as that time period must have felt like such a whirlwind where you meet your soulmate, you fall in love, right? You suddenly find out you're pregnant and then he's diagnosed and just while on maternity leave, right? Like all of the journey, the getting married and then the loss. I mean, it must have felt like such a mix of both joy and grief and all of the things. And then to go on and, raising your daughter as a single mom, I just think your story is such a story of incredible resilience and hope and, you know, truly the strength that you have to have walked through everything that you've gone through. And here you are today living your version, right, of your yes life. And I think it's just really, really powerful. So thank you for sharing. I'm so honored to have you as one of the coaches in the circle. I think that your experiences have given you such a depth of what it means, right? To both walk through and navigate the challenges of life and still choose to build this life of your choosing. So I'm curious how if you can tell me a little bit about this evolution where you started to get to this place where it's like, okay, I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to, like step into coaching and like from that point building your version of a yes, because it's each of our own individual versions of what it means to say yes. Like what was that evolution like as you walk through that journey?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely challenging too, scary. Like, I mean, I kept every day asking myself, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing? And then to even take that time off before even the coaching program started and to like be with like myself and like not going to my 6:30 to 2:30 job, the Monday through Friday, 8 hours. So it was very scary. It was very like, can I do this? And there were times where I thought to myself, oh, maybe, I should just go back after I get the certification. I'll just go back to another company or, work for another nonprofit, just like I have the certificate and I'll just use the skills that I got to just now go into another company. And so, I had that at first. And then as I'm like going through the coaching program and, they're encouraging us that you can build this, like you can make this your practice. Um, and with the help of also just having a coach, I was really then in this place of like, no, I've got to learn to believe in myself with this right now. Like I have an opportunity to practice that, right? Because so much of my life has been blown up that of course my faith and my trust in God, or like all of that is like completely just dismantled from all of this. So
Mhm.
um it really came to me that I could do this, and really get supported and be able to continue to build and grow this practice, even if, it takes me how many years. And I've seen how my practice has grown and how much I've changed. And it's really more the belief, I think, after experiencing a major loss, because again, that will completely rock your confidence and just your faith and all of that. And I'm still working on it. It's not like, oh, it's all there and it's all perfect, and but that's the thing, that every day you have to work on that belief in yourself, the faith and the confidence that you can continue to work towards that life, the yes life, the life of your dreams.
Oh, thank you. So powerful every day, right? It's a daily choice. It's a daily commitment. It never is, right? Like, oh, one day I've arrived and now, everything is just, rainbows and daisies. It's like, oh wait, every single day I'm making a choice to keep leaning in the direction of yes. What would you say to someone who's listening right now, who's going through a major sort of life upheaval, whether that be a divorce, a loss, maybe they're caring for someone who's ill in their family and they're actively trying to build a life that they want? What advice or what would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, like I know it's really difficult and it's really hard to, see the positive, or to feel, positive about what's happening. And I would say, like feel into what is there, like don't try to put on this happy face or smile, and again, I understand because I tried to do that, um, but if you have someone that you really trust and can like lean on for support, I would definitely say, get that support. Because again, I know that when we're going through something, it's very hard for us to reach out and ask for support. Or if it's just, you need someone to talk to, not even to like fix anything or even give advice, but just like, man, I'm going through a really hard time. This is really hard right now. And being able to just share, be vulnerable with like what you're feeling, rather than looking for like, make me feel better, or what should I do? It's like, just allow yourself to express what you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah. So I feel like what I'm hearing you say too is it's like you have to go through it, right? It's not about trying to avoid it or put a smile on and pretend like everything's great. I've got this. It's actually like maybe you don't have it and you can allow yourself to have the support that you need to get to the next level, because that is what is going to allow you to keep building, to keep stretching towards where you're going. And I think that the times that we get stuck are the times we're trying to avoid feeling, right? We're trying to avoid actually walking through the pain. Um, and with the right support, with the right tools, it's kind of like there is no fast track to it, but it's the straightforward path versus when we try to avoid it, right? And we take like the really long way around. Yeah, thank you. So we talked a bit about your, kind of evolution. Like, where are you going? Like, what does your version of a yes life look like as you look into the future for yourself now?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it's definitely like living life for myself in a way that I'm, like I said, building my practice, still continuing to coach other people, obviously creating a safe and loving environment for my daughter. You know, she's going to be going off to high school soon. So now it's like we're making plans for that. And in that too, you know, as I'm trying to continue to keep myself like in the forefront as well, because I, you know, again, we tend to put ourselves like on the back burner when it comes to like our kids or family, but it's really putting myself first. So in that, it means, you know, like again, focusing still on my business. um Again, I am trying to date again and, you know, kind of create a new partnership in my life that can add value to my life, and, you know, someone that can also uh you know, accept what I've been through, and, you know, and my daughter. And so, and that hasn't been easy, but again, it's something that if I want to create the partnership of my dream, or like have that second chance at having that partnership, whether that's just a long-term commitment. I'm not sure about marriage yet, but I do want someone that is in my life for long term and committed to me and growing with me as well. Because I think I was cut short of that with her dad a little bit. You know, we had been together all together 5 years, but like in that, you know, the first maybe three were like us dating, and then the last two were going through the journey of cancer. So I mean, it's almost as if like we could have been married for like so many years going through all of that, because again, we stuck together through better or worse, sickness and health, till death do us part. Like it literally, like that happened. And so um as being, like I said, I'm still young. I'm gonna be 41 in August, and, you know, and I even though I lost her dad when I was 29, I still feel like I have a lot of life to live, and I deserve to have a partner that also I can do life with and live my yes life with him.
Thank you so much. I would love to hear, what is your secret ingredient for success?
Yeah. Well, you know, we did touch on that, where I feel like it's really feeling all the feelings, like allowing yourself to kind of be in the mess of it, right? Like allowing yourself to feel the mess, and it's not easy. But in that, I've realized that like you do begin to like regain some confidence, because now you're feeling like, you know, as much as you have these um, you think life is perfect, or you want life to be perfect, and, you know, you try to do good and be good, and all of that, life doesn't always work out that way, right? And so I've learned to just, you know, again, accept that life is messy, and that in that, that doesn't mean that, you know, I don't deserve the best or I can't have the best. It's just that now I have this to like motivate me and to like push me to like say, no, I'm gonna be a rebel, and I'm not gonna let this keep me down, and I'm gonna go back out there and I'm gonna try again. And if I try again and you know, it still doesn't feel safe or whatever happens, okay, I can retreat, come back, take my rest, take some time to myself, you know, replan, redo, and try again. So I think for me, it's like that, you know, you just, you don't give up, you know, you can rest and you can take some time to yourself. And when you're ready to get back out there, you go back out there as many times as you have to.
Yes, as many times as it takes, right? I think this is such a brilliant conversation because I feel like, so many people get this idea, especially today, right? We can just watch the highlight reels on social media all day and see everybody's, quote unquote perfect lives. And the truth is, the people who have created massive success in their lives, who are living their yes, are willing to let it be messy. And there's so much wisdom in this statement, right? Because when people are afraid to stumble, when they're afraid to fall, when they're afraid to have it be messy in the process, is where they get stuck sitting on the sidelines. And I think that when we're willing, that is the place where we can grow in confidence. It's the doing, it's the having skin knees, it's the falling down and being like, wow, okay, this is a mess. What am I here to learn? That's the question I always ask myself is like, all right, what's here for me? What do I want to make this mean in this moment? Do I want to mean that I'm, not worthy, or do I want it to mean that like there's a lesson here, there's a growth here that I can take if I choose? And so I'm hearing you say that that's this place that you've come from. It's one of the reasons we love having you as a coach inside the circle, because we're coaching real human beings who are living their own version of a yes life and walking through their own version of the messy middle, and all the things. And I think having coached hundreds of people inside of the circle, which is so incredible. Would you say, like, what would you say is something that you have really seen people create some breakthroughs around, or something that you personally as a coach are really enjoying as being a coach in this program? I would love for you to speak into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think what I've experienced, whether it's just with my own clients or even the clients in the circle, um, is that they are allowing themselves to like come to these sessions as they are, and it's opening them up to like actually be seen and be heard, right? So like giving them that space to have that in order for them to begin to look at their patterns or like what's there, and just to like really practice and showing up and be in connection with me as their coach. And again, I always say, you come as you are. There's no judgment. This is who you are. Like, it's really about like looking at the other human and their humanity and how they've gone through the process of whether it's building a business or, you know, uh, relationships with their family, their own personal relationship with themselves. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that they really get to see and hear themselves through the coaching.
Hmm. And see how powerful they are, right? You're someone who's demonstrated again and again that you haven't placed your power in your circumstances outside of yourself, right? It's like you've continuously chosen to come back to you, to decide the powers within you to create what you want. And I know that that's a lot of what our clients are like. They're navigating circumstances and coming back again to like to being a choice, to choosing their yes. Again, why I'm just so grateful that we get to have someone like you who can hold space. It is a come as you are. You don't have to be perfect. You can come with your huge dreams and goals and all of the things and the real life stuff, right? That's on the other side of it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, absolutely. So I know that you are a spiritual life coach. Can you speak a little bit about how you weave spirituality into your coaching conversations, what that means to you, um, and how you infuse Reiki into your sessions as well? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, sure. So again, like spirituality, I believe it is just the connection to your mind, body, and soul. Um, of course, if people believe in a higher power, or if it's God or universe, whatever that is, like, you know, that's also a conversation that, we definitely can have in the sessions. Again, um, I think it's just, again, spirituality is really about finding your soul and like, your soul and your value, and like basically like you have all of that. Like, you are already valuable, you are whole, you are complete. um, but of course, you're also human. And so we still have to navigate stuff like that. And so it's not about being, again, this like perfect, soulful, enlightened human. It's like, no, what can you just like gain from the human experiences that you have? So you can add that to your wisdom and, the knowledge of life. So, when it comes to also including, like I said, the Reiki and the coaching. So what I do is, my clients will come to my office, because I have my office where I do the in-person Reiki. So we'll have a conversation, and I'll ask them, what's going on, what is it they want to be coached on, and what's there. And so once we've kind of had that session and they, open up about the feelings and the thoughts that are coming up. And I'll usually ask them like where in their body do they feel like either tightness or just like certain sensations in their body, which then that allows me when they do the Reiki session to kind of focus on those areas, to see if we can like move the energy or, like begin to remove those blockages. So, a lot of the times it'll be, that, they've got some big decisions that they are thinking of making, or they are going through, like a sense of loss in some area in their life. So after we have that conversation, then, obviously then I have them lay down, and then I turn off the lights. I set the mood to just be very calming for them, waterfall, candles. And then, the time I'm just placing my hands on different areas of their body. And if you're familiar with like chakras and things like that, that's where it kind of supports you in like aligning your body with the energy that's within you. So, certain parts of our body, like our heart, is something that like grief definitely affects. So, like if you're going through a lot of grief, your heart will definitely most likely be closed, or just some energy there is stuck. And so it's really just about like moving that energy. So I feel like talking supports that, as well as just like then laying there and being calm and allowing for someone else there to hold that space for you as you kind of move through everything that you just talked about with me.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. So, truly, this mind, body, spirit coaching, which we believe in as well. And I think that this truly is the evolution of life and also of business. I think that we have a lot of people who follow us who are entrepreneurs. And I think that the old way was so much about the push and the hustle and the strategy. And I think the new way is realizing that we build mind, body, and spirit, not in spite of, right? Not just with our minds, but as a whole person. And when we can really tend to all the parts of us, we're really tapped into our most powerful self. So I really appreciate your approach and the way that you coach. And so, for those of you who are curious, as I mentioned, and as Lidia mentioned, she is one of the coaches in our Circle program. Such a gift to be able to offer the most incredible coaching. And if you're curious, like, what would it be like to work with a life coach? Inside the Circle, you can send us a message. We've got some podcasts on here where we talk a bit more at length about what the Circle is all about. But really for the cost of your latte per day, you can come into the Circle and have a space to truly build your yes life, where you get to be supported in all of the ways, including having a one-on-one coach like Lidia or some of the other. They're all incredible. You guys, there's not a coach on our team that either hasn't trained in the same programs as we have or been trained with us, and that I personally wouldn't, coach with myself anytime, any day. So I just really appreciate it. Just in closing, Lidia, is there any final words that you would like to leave our listeners with? Anything else that we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention?
I think I would just like to say, when you, like I said, when you are feeling like you're alone and like nobody understands you, or you're just like down at the bottom, like just remember that like there's always ways to get supported. um Again, I know maybe some people may say, well, I don't have, friends or family or whatnot. But, again, sometimes it's just really taking a look at where you're at and looking at, well, it could only go up from here if I just reach out to something, someone, like just looking for that sign to like give you that encouragement. Because there's been many times where I just have felt the same way. And if I've asked for a sign or I've asked for just something within myself, something always has like come through or shown its way in the littlest way. And so I would just say, just kind of be aware of like when you are just sitting there and like there's nothing there, like to really like take a look at what is within you and see then what can you do to like get yourself out of where you're at.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I so appreciate your time, sharing your wisdom, and sharing your story with us today.
Thanks, Lisa, for having me.